Sorry, I'm just, you're good, take your time, you can enrich to. Anyone? Ready.
Good evening. Welcome to the regularly scheduled infrastructure committee meeting. Today is Monday, March 17th. It is 6:24 p.m. Members of the committee are myself, Councillor Dean, Councillor Fish, Councillor Fournier, Councillor Leonard. We also have Councillor Mallor, Councillor Trumbull, and Councillor Beck. And Jefferson Davis is joining us, as well as Richard May on Zoom.
All right, so our first agenda item is a compensation fee utilization plan update for the urban impaired streams. And Richard May is our stormwater manager and engineering, so I'm gonna let him go over that update.
Evening, councilors. So what this is all about, this is just sort of a information update for you regarding these funds and the plans that we have to spend them. So we had up until very recently 3 compensation fee funds for urban impaired streams, and these funds are put upon developers that are having impacts to these urban impaired stream watersheds, and the money is to offset the impacts from their developments, and then those monies can be used within that watershed as well. The developer also has an option to do some offsite improvements. Most do not choose to do that, and they will pay into the fund instead. So we have Penjadjawak Stream over by the Bangor Mall area, Birch Stream near the airport, and then Arctic Brook, which is sort of the Broadway corridor down to Kentuskeg Stream as well. Those 3 streams have all had compensation fee plans, but they haven't been updated since 2006. There's sort of a varying degree of completion of those plans amongst those streams, and we're planning to update those in the coming years, especially with Penjadjawak. We've just finished a new watershed management plan for that stream, so that will provide a good list of projects, which is basically what the compensation plan amounts to, is a list of projects that could be completed within the stream watershed to improve that stream watershed. The same will be true of Birch Stream, where we're looking to update that watershed plan in the next year or so. Arctic Brook has an active plan that was updated in 2016, and we've completed a few improvement projects since then in that watershed, but I'm sure there's a few more that could be added to the plan for the compensation fee spending. Shawbrook is on the west side of the airport. There's a significant portion of Shawbrook that's also in the town of Herman, and a small portion in the town of Hamden. So we recently wrote a compensation fee utilization plan for that watershed, and that can be we checked in with those other towns, haven't had a response yet. We did submit it to Maine DEP for approval after it was reviewed by the city manager per the ordinance, and they have since approved it. I think I got the approval letter on Friday of last week. So we do now have an active Shawbrook compensation fee plan, and updates to others are forthcoming. So just kind of wanted to keep you in the loop there, and see if you had any input for us as well.
Well, thank you. Anyone have any questions on the watershed?
Thank you, Richard.
Yes, you're welcome. Have a good night.
All right, our next agenda item is, I'm gonna lump these 2 together. The council resolves for Maine DOT and BAC's UPI grant applications. So in October, we applied for UPI grants, which is an urban partnership initiative. There's approximately $3 million a year in state funding, split among the 4 MPOs. which backs is, there's Androscoggin, Kennebec, Portland and Bangor. Individual projects are capped at 750,000 in state funds, and it's a 50-50 project, so 50% local match. In October, we applied for, I think probably around 4,000 linear feet of sidewalk on a main avenue from Hammond Street to Texas Avenue. We were the only community that in this MPO, the Bangor Region MPO, that applied. We were awarded the grant. And then recently, Bax came back to the all the members in our NPO and said, hey, Bangor was the only one that applied. They were awarded the grant. This funding is still available. We'd like to send it out again. So that happened pretty fast. So in February, I submitted 2 new grants. The first is for adding 2,550 linear feet of new 6-foot wide ADA accessible paved sidewalks along Alden Road, from Hammond Street to just in front of the old ground round. So that connects that whole corridor. The project's estimated cost of $335,000. And 50-50, that would local match would be $167,500, which would come from pedestrian safety improvements in FY26. The second application is for adding 4,200 linear feet of new 6-foot wide ADA sidewalk, which will connect along the main business parks in Northeast and Corporate Drive. They will connect Hammond Street to Main Avenue. The project has an estimated cost of $450,000. So $225,000 would be local funding. So those are submitted, and then I'm asking for a resolve for both of those. And that is all FY26 funding that would come from.
Counselor Trevor?
I understand how tax works and the process works, but how's it like, a lot of times when we through like, the health department, we apply for grants, so first they've got authorization, so is there like have we got a list of sidewalk projects we wanna do that we've reviewed at the council and say, okay, go ahead and do these sidewalks? Cause in my opinion, we did the sidewalk on Union Street a few years ago on the airport side. I think I actually voted against that. I mean, I know we got a lot of state funding, but I've yet to see anybody use that sidewalk. These ones on Island Road make a lot of sense to me. I mean, you're gonna connect existing sidewalks to existing sidewalks. The ones, and then the one you're talking about, the main business enterprise park, that's, in my opinion, that's not a pedestrian area. I don't know why we put almost a mile of sidewalk in the main business enterprise park. Because I mean, once, even though it's not 100% state funding, we're putting up quite a bit initially, but then it's up to us going forward to take care of it. It needs to be replaced down the road. It's on the city. I mean, I know we did last year, we did out at Ohio Street, which is very helpful, tied together some areas where we got requests on Ohio Street. We've had requests to do Mount Hope Avenue, tie out of Mount Hope into Hogan Road, and it's not very much space here, but I think that's a higher priority to me than the main business enterprise. How do we prioritize these?
So we work with DOT and Bax. We do prioritization lists.
Who thinks the business enterprise park needs?
Well, engineering.
How do they determine that?
Well, we look at pedestrian usage and we look at what's going to be built out there. So right now you have the Hope House, right, out there. There are no sidewalks on Northeast Drive or Corporate Drive. There's a big component.
I thought this is Main Avenue is that Main Avenue sidewalk?
I talked about 2 different projects.
No, I know, but isn't the Main Avenue one gonna extend to the Hope House area?
No.
Oh, where's that?
Main Avenue stops at Main Avenue. It goes to
I
Texas
thought it went to
Avenue.
Texas Avenue, yeah,
But inside the park, there's not any
right,
sidewalk inside the park itself. So, and there's potential more housing being developed up there. There's a new unit that just got established up there by the water tower. So.
all right,
So, I mean, again, these are, I have 2 council orders for each one, so you can also, approve one if you don't, or don't approve any of them, but, we do work on lists, priority list. And again, these are.
can we get some, I'd just like to see if that one, because I've heard a lot of people always ask me what's going on Mount Hope, is there a way to get a list of where things fall also? That Mount Hope Avenue sidewalk is even on the list, I mean, you might not know off the top of your head, but,
Oh, the Mount Hope, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, we're designing that right now, I'm sorry.
okay.
I thought you
great.
said another road, yeah.
No.
That was on the
I-
priorities list in
I thought so,
twenty-four,
yeah, okay.
we got funded for, or 25, I'm sorry. So yes, that is on
Get
the
asked
list right
about
now.
that one a lot. Thank you.
So that the construction funding isn't for. We have design funding right now, construction funding is available for following year. So. I'm sorry. I
No
missed that.
problem, thank you.
So is the idea to connect as many sidewalks as possible for continuous flow of pedestrians?
That we look at where people are going too, so yes. Short answer, yes.
Council Leonard?
But the only concern I can think of is just putting extra stress on Public Works for plowing. Like, would that affect much of the of like their routes or anything with these additional sidewalks, or did you not see much hindrance with the addition?
Well, I mean, it's always, whenever you add more infrastructure, it's more you have to maintain.
Roger.
There's always a balance there, of course, but and I don't, Aaron's here, I don't know if he wants to say anything on his maintenance plan, but we have priorities of sidewalks that we do. These would have to be into that mix, and where was that priority of these sidewalks?
Because we did have a pretty good winter this year, and we did stress you guys out, so.
Yeah, adding, excuse me, Aaron Hootery, Public Works Director, adding sidewalks doesn't automatically mean that we're plowing those sidewalks, unfortunately. To expand capacity, there's a number of different factors. This year, we did struggle mostly because we had almost all new operators. We had one veteran sidewalk plow operator. So that makes a big difference in itself. Took us much longer to do sidewalks this year than we have in the last few.
Okay, so would more seasoned ones this might not be an issue if we had more seasoned workers, or would it still?
Well,
I know it's hard to compare.
Yeah, but our sidewalks are prioritized based on school walking routes
Roger.
and then major arteries. So where Corporate Drive probably would not be
Be a
considered.
secondary.
Yeah,
one,
it wouldn't probably be plowed at all, but Main Avenue may very well be because it connects across from Hammond to Union Street.
So I do have to, and I should have pointed this out earlier, but being in state funding, DOT funding, there are parameters. You have to either be on urban, oh my goodness, I just lost my train of thought. But you have to be on a DOT aid road, state aid road, or connect to one. So that was our limited factor on some of these. So
Yeah, and just to finish, I mean, like, this supports our plan to make Bangor a more walkable city. Again, like, I don't want to stress you guys out of Public Works, but this does make it a lot easier for people to get around the city more. So I would be in support of both of these grants.
And there is, not to make it bigger than it was, but there have been requests for Corporate Drive to be sidewalked.
and that's
Probably
You know,
no more
we're-
than a handful, but
in the future, that's gonna be developed out there.
Right.
That's happening now, so.
I entertain a motion on these.
So moved.
So this will come to council next week, 24th.
Thank you very much. All right, our last, do I still have time? I know you guys have council.
Yeah.
We do have one more agenda left item. I'm gonna ask Amanda to come up because this is a dual partnership between engineering and our director of water quality and their sewer maintenance staff. But it is the EPA annual compliance report update.
Exciting.
Very exciting. So, sorry, we're gonna turn it on here. So the engineering department and water quality management recently submitted the calendar year 2024 annual report on compliance to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. This is a yearly report we do. It is a requirement of the United States and state of Maine versus the city of Bangor consent decree, which this one is entered on to November 13th, 2015. I think the first one was 91, maybe. The report contains information on the city of Bangor's yearly compliance activities, such as measures to taken to reduce combined sewer overflows, CSOs, sanitary sewer overflows, SSOs, and items on collection system assessments and maintenance. Also updates of the long-term control plan and compliance activities planned for the next reporting period. It is, I don't know, not a very long document. The meat of it is, I think, only, 30 pages, but there is a big appendice, but, quickly to get through this, I will just go through, some of the contents, and Amanda can certainly jump in if I misspoke or have more to add. Again, we talked about, the status of compliance, compliance activities, measures taken to reduce CSO and SSO volumes. So just a quick list this year that's in the report. Davisbrook CSO storage tank, post-construction monitoring. So we have AECom conducting that right now. We will use that for, they're modeling the existing model tended to overpredict the flow during medium, large storm events. They're in the process of finalizing this data, and we'll use that as a future reference. Amanda's also working on SCADA needs assessment and upgrades to our plant. The Meadowbrook sewer separation project gets storm water out of the sewer main. That's designed right now. We're just waiting on funding to move forward with that. We're hoping to construct that this FY26. And also a big component of this is the asset management program and implementation. We have slowly begun to do that. We did have some staff turnover with our GIS department, which is mainly taking the brunt of this. But we have John Miller now, who's on board and starting this process again. Perry Road and Kmart pump stations are on that list. We had Haley Ward conduct a study. We are very limited at those pump stations. So we have that study now. We're going to use that to move forward with engineering design funding. Airport sewer replacement. That was approximately 900 linear feet of existing clay cross-country sewer main and 4 manholes they were prone to infiltration. We were lucky when the airport did their project. Sargent did that work for us at a pretty good price. We also did Silver Road separation. There were 2 previous unmapped catch basins and a field inlet connected to Barkersville sanitary sewer subsection. I think it was over 6 acres of stormwater flow, and we added some new piping and some new catch basins to get that out of the sewer system. The one that you might be hearing about right now is the Randolph Drive sewer replacement phase 3. That's in construction right now. Lou Silver is out there starting the final phase of that project. That's over 2,000 linear feet of new sewer main, 8-inch sewer main. That section is probably one of the worst sections that was in the city of Bangor. So we're very happy to get that one done. Also right now we're working on Hildreth Street force main replacement. Eastwood has that out of Hammond Street and Hildreth Street. And then of course a big component of this is our small project improvements. So those are typically projects under 100,000. And then we do a 3-year contract with the contractor right now. CC Lynch's has that contract. You might have saw last week, we had a break in Main Street. That's part of that small projects. But we've done a lot of work over the years with that, and it's been a great program for us. I'm gonna give it to Amanda if she's okay with talking about collection system assessment and maintenance, because that's a pretty big component of this consent decree, and her team does a tremendous job. And I don't know if you have that in front of you, but if you don't, I'll tell the numbers, but this is.
I mean, really, all I really want to say about that right now, because stay tuned for the next infrastructure committee. It's going to be all sewer. So I won't get into the meat right now. But I wanted to, sometimes it's nice to share the light at the end of the tunnel with the council. We've been short-staffed for many years. We just became full-staffed on the sewer division of our department last month for the first time since 2018. But the numbers are record-breaking numbers for last year. And that's because even though we were still short-staffed, we started getting employees to the point where they were seasoned. So they're not as green, and they are driven, they are motivated. And, even looking at this massive list of projects, all of that inspection and cleaning and work that's been done, it's been with just a couple of employees from engineering and 10 on your sewer division. And I think that's the biggest takeaway that I want to give you from this. And also the light at the end of the tunnel, our post-construction monitoring that AECom did for the Davisbrook tank project. they based our long-term control plan with our build out of future CSO tanks on a computer model that they had of our system. Having that tank finished gave them a chance to finesse that model, doing the monitoring that we've done on flows, and it looks like the news is good. That tank is performing better than was anticipated with the original model. So we'll talk a little bit more about all that at Next Infrastructure, but I thought we'd end on a high note tonight. This is a good report, and while we were sitting here, I got an email from EPA that they want to have a meeting about this in April, so.
So
we've got it.
just since I have in front of me, because if I don't, I'll forget this number all the time, but I shouldn't. But we have 135 miles of inspectable sewer.
Mhm.
So, and I think her crew videoed 145,523 linear feet of that this year, which is a tremendous number. So they've done a really great job.
And if I remember correctly, we're only required to do what, like 10% or
Mhm.
something like that? So again, like tremendous work from both your departments, so thank you so much.
Just so we covered 20%, almost 20% this year.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And good
Well
data, we got
above.
really good data out of it. So,
Good. Excellent. Thank you.
thank you.
and that's all we have.
One
for
question.
Yep.
Sure.
When you talked about, towards the end of the report, it talks about evaluations of collection system within sewer subsections, it talks about Meadowbrook, Cadestic West, Gildet, Perry, and get those, what's a cemetery sewer subsection?
That is, if you go up,
Is it Ohio Street or?
yeah, Ohio, by
That
the
area.
Cemetery Valley Ave.
Okay, it's just
area.
referring to the
Yep,
cemetery.
it's just, we label the
Right.
subsections based on that one in particular. We used to have a CSO outfall. And we're approaching $100 million that the city has spent just on CSO abatement. And that's the last outfall that we closed was the cemetery outfall. That was, I think, 2015 or 16.
Well, perfect. Any other comments? We're adjourned.
Can't wait for next week.
Hold on.
Thank you.